Good morning, everyone. We're down here in Portland, Oregon, still at the courthouse here. Again, behind me is the jail, Multnomah County Jail, and the federal courthouse in Portland, Oregon. We've had another eventful morning, and it's cold down here. Las Vegas was a lot warmer, and so I'm missing that 70-degree weather. I know they don't have court over there this week, so it's kind of a slow week, but we'll have you some more updates from Nevada next week. They start back with the trial over there on Monday. But over here right now, good morning, Jennifer. I seen some messages from you. I haven't had a chance to been in court all morning to answer people back. Hi, Deborah and Rob and Ken. So we get you some updates here. Yesterday I made a mistake on Butch Eaton. Butch Eaton did testify here, but he was not the former fire chief in Burns. I got him and Chris Briles mixed up for their occupation, but it was Butch Eaton that testified, so I want to get the record straight there. And we've had, so far this morning, we've had 5 witnesses before lunch that has been called up on the witness stand. Our first one we had is another BLM special agent. He's more like a police officer. His name is Jason Curry. And so he's BLM officer, special agent BLM officer. He testified shortly on the stand. We had again for the second time Linda Beck. She testified during the first trial, and she's with Fish and Wildlife out there at the refuge. So she testified during the first trial, and she also testified again. We had Jeff Winnick. He's also another Fish and Wildlife employee out there at the refuge in Burns, Oregon. He testified. Then we had Shane Thiel. I think I'm pronouncing his right, but Shane Thiel, he's the refuge fire manager. He does the controlled fires out there. Our last one we had up, just before we had break, was FBI agent Matt Yeager. And he's probably our most interesting one. The rest of the ones that testified, I'd heard their testimonies last year during the first trial. They pretty much testified to things that were missing, the vehicles that were being used, or disorientated stuff strewn around by however it got there. Their offices messed up. Things like that, how damaged the place looked when they got back there. So far, them witnesses there, only thing they could pretty much testify to is that Ammon and Ryan Bundy, Ryan Payne, they were trying to put those guys back on trial here again today. They had nothing, these first 4 witnesses pretty much had nothing on the defendants that are on trial right now. They're just trying to make them co-conspirators or conspirators into this with the Bundys. And so we know the Bundys got found not guilty, and some of us feel down here that their names should not keep being brought up when that case is already dissolved of and acquitted in a not guilty verdict. But that's about all these agents could testify to. They testified a little differently this time on a few things, such as they knew who Ammon Bundy was now. They knew who Ryan Bundy was. Ken Medenbach, his name got brought up by the special agent Jason Curry. The interesting thing about Jason Curry is that he's like a police officer, so he's a special agent that investigates different crimes of the BLM. And he brought up that Ken Medenbach went out and put a sign up on their regional office, their BLM office out there near Burns, that said closed permanently. And he had pictures of Ryan Bundy and Ken Medenbach on video camera of them doing that. Those 2 individuals had been found not guilty in the last trial. Some of these things weren't brought up in the last trial, or they was brought up so briefly. They wasn't even being charged with those things. But they're bringing it up, trying to paint a picture of these are the guys that did these things. and trying to pin it on these next 4 defendants. They didn't have pictures of these 4 defendants putting those signs up at that other BLM office. They just had pictures of Ken Medenbach showing up there and screwing a sign to a building saying closed permanently. So that was kind of interesting. The one that Matt Yeager, FBI agent Matt Yeager, he's a terrorist, domestic terrorist investigator. He's been involved in this case pretty much since the beginning of the occupation or protest out there in Burns last year in January. And he handles their Facebook post and social media. So he retrieves that stuff, makes it legible for evidence, and this is pretty much what he came to testify to, his Facebook post and photos that were posted on Facebook and social media, and to try to identify the people that were on there. He answered about 15 minutes of questions from the government, and they pretty much had him read off of Facebook constantly. He just, they'd pop up a post and say, "What does this say?" And they'd pop up another post and say, "What does this say?" After he was finished there under cross-examination, which he's not quite finished yet, we'll finish up with him after lunch here. The interesting thing is Daryl Thorne's attorney started asking him questions about when was this picture posted. It says on the Facebook post, February 3rd, for instance. When was the occupation over with? When did Daryl Thorne leave the occupation? Leave the refuge? Where was Daryl Thorne at the time that picture was posted? This FBI agent could not answer that. He could read it off of Facebook or off of where it was posted as February 3rd or February 17th, February 20th, when these things were posted before Daryl's arrest. But we know that it was over with on January 26th. And after Lavoie was murdered, Daryl Thorne was no longer there, and most people had already left. And this FBI agent could not answer that. He was even asked by Daryl Thorne's attorney, when did Mr. Finicum, when was he shot? What day was that? He said, unless I can read it somewhere, I can't tell you. I don't remember that. His main line was, "I'm really not trying to be difficult," he said several times. "I just need my memory refreshed." And then another statement he quoted from him is that he said, "If I can read it to you, I can tell you. Let me read it, and the post will speak for itself," he says. So Daryl Thorne's attorney had him read a couple of posts, and he read the post, and he says, when was that picture taken? He says, well, it says February 3rd. He said, so the picture was taken February 3rd, or the post was posted February 3rd? He said the occupation was already over with by February 3rd. At least for Daryl Thorne. There was only 4 people left at the refuge, as we all know. This agent could not even remember how many people were left at the refuge after the 26th, or the last 4 refuge people. What this has proven, to me anyway, and several other defendants, is that the government continuously brings up witnesses, FBI people, professionals, so-called professionals, on the stand that cannot remember anything for a reason. They don't want to remember the truth. They're being coached, they're being told what to say, they're being rehearsed before court. And he says, "I'm really not trying to be difficult." He says this multiple times. "I just need my memory refreshed." Well, if it's your job to handle something, your memory should have already suited you, and you shouldn't have to forget these things. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And we're going to continue with his testimonies after our lunch break here, and finish up with him hopefully in the next half hour. We have a few more witnesses that are going to be called up. We've got a Marilyn Miller. Marilyn Miller was actually testified. This was another one. So this is a name I forgot to mention. So we've had 6 so far witnesses. Marilyn Miller she's a bird watcher, an avid bird watcher. She hates guns. She's scared of guns, she claims. She ended up going out to a spot off the refuge. It wasn't on the refuge. It was somewhere near there. And she testified that she approached 5 armed men that blocked the road and wouldn't let her have passage past. And she was fearful for her life. It was her and her husband. And she testified that they had a long conversation with Ryan Payne. And she ended up convincing Ryan Payne that that was private property. It didn't belong to the refuge. And she convinced an armed, dangerous man to leave and to not come back. And but she kept saying how scared she was of this man and these other people that were there, and how they stole something out of one of the buildings there that wasn't being lived in. And she even actually testified under oath that she convinced them to put the property back they had borrowed temporarily. And one of the defendants actually asked her, well, weren't they actually taking it back into the building when you came up on them? They had just used this table for a short time and he's putting it back. And she said no, she didn't believe that. She believed they would have never put it back unless she had showed up there and made them to put it back. So some pretty interesting inconsistencies in some of these witnesses, and it's really unraveling fast, and it's pretty interesting to see. So after lunch, we do know that some of the ammunition today is going to be showed as evidence to the jurors, and one gun for sure, and a couple more witnesses that are going to testify. I'm assuming these are going to be FBI agents or law enforcement again, to try to explain to the jurors what type of guns these are, what type of the ammunition, and we're hoping that they don't take all the rest of the afternoon to go through thousands of rounds of ammunition that a known informant, John Kilman, actually brought to the refuge. And so we're hoping they keep the ammunition down simply and don't bore the jurors. So far, part of our morning was very boring. Several of us were having a hard time staying awake in there through some of the testimonies. It wasn't just before about 30-40 minutes before lunch that we actually started waking up with this FBI agent Matt Yeager's testimony. So that's a little bit of our morning. I'll have you another update here probably 3 o'clock or so, and tell you what's going on down here. It's a cold day down here today. It's somewhere in the 30 degrees. The sun has come out and it's not raining, but I'm hearing there's going to be snow down here tomorrow. I don't know how much, but they say it's coming this morning, so Portland's going to get some snow, it looks like. Other than that, that's all I've got for you guys right for now. And let me see here. Matt Schindler wasn't there, David. We had Shauna Cox's attorney that showed up yesterday, and Matt Schindler's been here almost every day. We've had quite a variety of different ones of the previous attorneys show up off and on. David Fry's attorney showed up one day here to set in. We see here. They haven't asked yet when the arrest warrants were issued. That's a good question. I know that's going to be coming up. Nobody's been at Patriot Corner yet. Hopefully first part of next week I'll start manning that, and I'm going to get David Zion Brugger over to help me. He was here the complete last trial here also, and he was a big help. Right now we've been mostly in the courtroom up here. I've been there pretty much when they open until they close, so I've been reporting that. We do have 4 or 5 other court reporters like myself that have been taking notes very faithfully. Tom Lewis, he's doing real good. And I'm going to forget some names, I know, but Becky Ward, she's doing real good. Sherry DeVal, she's doing awesome. We've got some others in there too, and like I said, I'm going to forget some names here, but we've got several people. I've been saying there's at least 5 or 6 people that are taking notes in the courtroom, and another half a dozen or more that's sitting there observing. So we've got a good handful of people. They do not have the overflow room today. There's nobody in it, so they have that room closed. And there is still just a few seats left in the main courtroom. Tomorrow, I suspect, because we are having court tomorrow, I suspect that tomorrow they will have the overflow room. I overheard some of the marshals talking about that, and they're expecting a larger crowd for some reason tomorrow. I'm not for sure who's going to be here before that. There might be some other people observing, but it sounds like it's going to get really busy tomorrow for some reason. So I expected quite a few people here. So other than that, let me look at a couple of, says Robert Moore. It says, yes, Jason Patrick, Daryl Thorne, Jake Ryan, and Dwayne Emmer. Them are the four that are on trial right now. They're in good spirits. I've been with them, staying with them at night. We've got I've been eating either lunch with them or seeing them here after court and stuff. So they're all in good spirits. The trial's going great so far. We are very pleased with what's going on. The jurors are very attentive and looking good too. I'll try to get you a picture over here of the other side of the court. We've got a couple of Paiutes that have been sitting with us, and we haven't talked with them much until yesterday. Maureen, you are on the list. Yes, you are. And a lot of names are being brought up through this trial of a lot of people that aren't even involved in this this trial anymore, that have been found guilty in the last trial. So it's kind of interesting. But across the street here, I'm gonna try to turn the camera over there, and you can see over there there's 4 individuals standing over there. 2 of them are from the Paiute tribe. 2 of them gentlemen, and they've been sitting with us in court, observing. They haven't really talked to us much, and but just hi every day. They've been getting friendlier, and I'm looking forward to hearing their story here, hopefully in the next few days, and seeing why they're actually here and what they're observing for. And because we know the Lavoy Finicum, he invited them to come out to the refuge. He wanted them to take part. This is their land. And hi Sam, how you doing? You need to come out here to Oregon or Nevada and help me out, brother. So Lavoy Finicum tried to engage the Paiutes, and he wanted them involved, and he wanted them to know this was their land. It belongs to them just as much as it does all of us. This federal land is public land. It doesn't belong to the federal government to control the way they do. So, well, I'll be out here in Portland, Sam, for at least another week to 10 days, and then I'll be heading over to Nevada for hopefully a week or so, and get back over here to bring in this verdict when the jurors go into deliberation. So, how you doing, Robert and Wes? And so Jen says she chatted with them last week and said they were just observing. So they seem like some interesting individuals, and they seem really nice, and I'd like to get to know them just a little bit more. So so anyway, that's about all I have for updates for the moment. About 3 o'clock or so, I hope to have you some more. We should have a break around 3 or 3:30, and we'll tell you what else we've found out here after lunch. Thank you, and God bless.